You're 7 years old, and someone just handed you to a total stranger in armor. Don't worry, this stranger is a knight, and apparently that makes it an honor. You'll live in his castle, eat his food, and copy his every move. Other boys your age are herding pigs. You get real steel to look at. Everyone tells you this is the greatest opportunity a boy could ever ask for. 7 years of service, then maybe you get knighted yourself. You imagine tournaments, glory, ladies waving, your name echoing through the hall. The knight nods at you once. You already feel like a legend. Then he hands you a bucket, a barrel, and a very specific chore. Your knightly training begins with something called the rust problem. The rust problem is his chainmail, and it is everywhere, and it is angry. You're told to scrub it in a barrel of sand and vinegar. Nobody mentions the smell. Nobody warns you about the smell. Your hands blister within the hour. Your knight is off having lunch. Once the mail gleams, you're handed his boots, his belt, his sword. Polish everything until it shines, then polish it again tomorrow anyway.
At dinner, you don't sit. You carve the meat and refill the cup. At night, you don't get a bed. You sleep across his doorway. This makes you, technically, a human security system with no pay. You start to suspect honor is doing a lot of heavy lifting here.
The knight still hasn't learned your name after 3 full months. You keep polishing. What else is a 7-year-old going to do? Years pass. You're older now and finally trusted with real weapons. You learn swordplay, horsemanship, and how to fall off a horse gracefully. The knight starts letting you carry his actual lance in public. Other squires respect you now. You've become the guy who never rusts. You get invited to watch real jousts from the good seats. Your knight starts explaining strategy to you instead of just barking orders. He even remembers your name. Sometimes, when it's convenient for him. You feel it. The glory is coming. This is the turning point. He hands you his best armor and says, "Guard this with your life." You take this literally, because apparently that's now the actual job. You're responsible for every buckle, every strap, every polished plate. If one hinge sticks in battle, that's on you, not him. Suddenly your small honor job has a body count attached to it. You didn't sign up to be armor's last line of defense. Or did you? It's the morning of a real battle, and the pressure is unbearable. You have 10 minutes to strap 25 kilograms of metal onto a man. One wrong buckle, and he can't lift his arm to block a sword. Your fingers are shaking. His life is currently in your fingers. You finish just in time. He doesn't say thank you. He just leaves. You realize nobody praises the squire when the armor works perfectly. They only remember the squire when something goes catastrophically wrong. This is now your entire emotional life. Silent success, loud blame. You start checking every strap 3 times just to sleep at night. Your reward for good work is simply more work, forever. Meanwhile, the knight gets songs written about him. You get a bucket. You begin to understand that chivalry has a very specific org chart. And you are near the very bottom of that org chart. Still, you polish. The vinegar barrel doesn't care about your feelings. The battle starts, and suddenly polishing armor is the least of your problems. You're expected to run onto the field with weapons, into danger. Your job now includes handing him a spare sword mid-sword fight. You're basically a caddy, except the course is actively trying to kill you. An arrow lands closer than you'd like. You keep running anyway. Your knight takes a hit and stumbles. Guess who's catching him? You. You are catching him. Nobody trained you for this part. You drag him backward while wearing considerably less armor than he does. If he falls fully, tradition says you offer him your own horse. Your own horse! The one thing standing between you and being trampled! You hand it over anyway, because apparently that's in the job description. Now you're on foot, in a battlefield, holding someone else's broken sword. This was not covered in the honor of service recruitment speech. You fight anyway, because standing still seems statistically worse right now. Somehow, impossibly, the fighting starts to slow. The knight is alive. You are also alive, which honestly feels like the bigger accomplishment. Someone yells that the battle is won. You mostly just feel tired. You look down and realize you're still holding his dented gauntlet. Years later, you're finally kneeling and someone's tapping a sword on your shoulder. Congratulations, you're a knight now, assuming you survived long enough to qualify. Statistically, a lot of squires didn't. You, somehow, are one of the lucky ones. You get a horse, a title, and finally actual credit for your work. There's just one small detail nobody mentioned during the ceremony. Knights need squires, and guess who's now expected to have one? Somewhere, a 7-year-old is being handed a bucket right now. He's being told this is the greatest honor a boy could ask for. You almost warn him. Almost. Then you remember the vinegar barrel. Instead, you just smile and hand him your old dented armor. Polish it, you say. It's a real honor. He believes you completely. And that, historically, is exactly how chivalry kept itself fully staffed.